Lots of people walked out. Lots of people escorted out for shouting at Donalds. So if it started half full, and then people walked out, and then people were escorting out, were you trying to be like a sea captain? Like I'm going down with the ship? Like, I'm gonna be the last person in this room. I don't care what happens. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. And I come to you with a solemn and heavy heart. They got Byron. Oh, they got Byron. Recap of the last 72 hours for Byron Donalds. Lied on X about flipping Dade County red. Was community noted for the lie. Called everyone who doesn't wear knee pads for Byron bots. Held a town hall where he went full Randy Fine and used Jasmine Crockett race-based talking points. And here it was. I thought things were going to be all good now that Daddy's back.
Sees the numbers. He'll figure a way to do it.
It's not just going to be that. I mean, when Americans see deportations or repatriations happen, they're going to be like, thank you. When they see the border closed, they're going to say, this is what I voted for. When they see peace starting to break out again around the world, they're going to be like, this is the stability that we were asking for. Daddy's back. And that's what you're going to see.
But about that whole town hall thing, see, that's been rough for a great number of Republicans, and they keep trying to throw out denials and saying that it's paid agitators and George Soros-funded activists. Well, let's see. A note about primaries. Primaries are great things. Iron sharpens iron, and the voter winds up with the best. At least that's the way it goes with free and fair elections in this country. And the comment, prime example, Byron Donalds. Tonight he had such a bad meltdown at his town hall, they cut the live feed. They cut the live feed? What is this, Big Brother? They cut the live feed. They didn't even cut the live feed to the Oscars when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. They cut around cameras, but they didn't cut the live feed. Just how bad did this get?
You are being disrespectful, and I will respect you the next time you.
Man, that is bad. I mean, Byron, you had to have some idea that the voters weren't feeling you right.
We've achieved victories in Florida. We need to start achieving those victories up there. So I think people look at it and say, you got a guy like Byron. He just hasn't been a part of any of the victories that we've had here over the left over these last years. He's just not been a part of it. He's been in other states campaigning, doing that, and that's fine. But okay, well then deliver results up.
Now that's one voter who definitely is not voting for Donalds, but I wonder if he's gonna have influence on the race. The Ron DeSantis cult has been just dying to use Byron Donalds' race against him. With Donalds daring to call himself a black man last night, it looks like they found their window to do it. Ironically, it came at an event where Donalds decried DEI. So if you're scoring at home, Byron Donalds showed up to decry DEI, had these racists ready to bait him to use his race against him, and he played into their hands by calling out the racism. Are those lepers hungry? Are those lepers hungry? Oh, yeah. Let's dig in, shall we?
Level of success. That is a fact, and we should celebrate that. What about the white kids that don't have that opportunity? Actually, let's go into this. You have poor white kids, poor black kids, poor Spanish kids who are all starting at the bottom. They're all starting at the bottom.
Now, if you're following, he was telling the story of poor white kids that don't have opportunities. And then he course corrected and talked about poor kids of every race that don't have opportunities. But we're really here to advocate for the one, right, Byron?
For a myriad of reasons. All I'm saying is everybody in life rises and falls on merit, opportunity, chances, and yes, luck. Those are the ways. That's the way it works. It's always worked that way. But if you want to tell me that the country today is the same when my mother was going through high school, we fundamentally disagree. It is not the same America. It's not even close.
Okay, now I'm going to get to the dragging in just a second. But what we have here is one of my fundamental problems with conservatives, because you want to talk about how this isn't the America that my mother grew up with, but the America that your mother grew up with wasn't the America that her mother grew up with. And you know why that bar got pushed forward? Because that generation decided to make it better. If they were satisfied that it wasn't the America that her mother grew up with, we would still be living in the America that her mother grew up with. And you wouldn't have your family.
Jack Phelps. Tonight's find Jack. Jack Phelps.
Have you read the book of
There,
my
I
life?
got you. All right.
Whoa, stop. Don't educate me about my life, sir. Don't do that. Don't, sir. Hold up. Please, hear me on this. I like how everybody's shouting at me, the black guy on the stage with a microphone in his hand saying, have you read this book, read this book, read this book, read this book? Don't marginalize my life and what I've done. Don't do that. Don't marginalize the life of other black people in this country who have done well. Don't do that. Don't marginalize theirs. Do you know how many black men in America today run private equity funds, run hedge funds, have done something marvelous? They may not agree with me politically, but they've done marvelous things. Don't legitimize what they've done. Don't delegitimize what they've done. Don't do that.
Okay, first things first. Don't you educate him on his life. Don't do that. Only his ex-wife can do that. Lot of mercy. Now, Byron, I didn't get a chance to see the back and forth. I just want to see exactly what was said.
Have you read the book Cast by Isabel Wilkerson?
Have you read the book of my life?
Cast.
Whoa, stop. Don't educate me about my life, sir. Don't do that. Don't, sir. Hold on.
What?
Please, hear me on this. I like how everybody's shouting at me, the black guy on stage with a microphone in his hand saying, have you read this book, read this book, read this book, read this book? Don't marginalize my life and what I've done. Don't do that.
Now, Byron, take a walk with me. Take a walk with me. Why is everybody yelling at me, a black guy on stage, asking me, have you read this book? Have you read this book? Read this book? Why do you think they might be asking you that question? Why might they be asking you that question? And why would your response to have you read this book, have you read this book be why you guys yelling at a black guy on stage? Why, Byron? That's just a thought exercise. Why? Why would they be asking you that? And why would that be your response? Go ahead, just because they racist a little bit, right? Yeah, because they racist a little bit, yeah. The same kind of racism that you showed up here to pretend doesn't exist. Exactly. Now you see why you get dragged every other week. And also why Ron DeSantis and his team on sycophants have never had an idea, thought, or action that I can stand behind. Until now. Get him.
Don't do that. Don't marginalize theirs. Do you know how many black men in America today?
I got it. Do I know how many black men in America could stand on stage denying the existence of racism while reacting defensively because of feeling said racism they just said didn't exist? Bam! Did I get it? Because the answer is one. Now I see why you were so mad when Jasmine Crockett said you was whitewashed. Now I get it. Because they did a really poor job. You still fielding questions about have you read books. But here's something you might want to read. This is just too easy. Byron Donalds, man of bank fraud, drug case, delaying federal investigation of FTX, attempting to intimidate federal enforcement of Robinhood Financial, breaking state law by lying on state application for college board position. The list goes on. And then you scroll down, unless you have certain friends that can expunge a criminal record, even drugs and bribery.
People will do anything to maintain power and authority. I think it's wrong.
Byron Donalds won't say who those people are, but blames them for revealing his criminal past. It's been posted on the internet after it was ordered sealed by the courts. A 1997 misdemeanor arrest for distribution of marijuana, and in 2000, a second-degree felony for receiving a bribe.
That's too bad, Byron. Yeah, that's too bad, because if they wouldn't have gotten you off and expunged your record, like if you would have spent some time down at county, you would have had time to read some of them books they talking about.
Approve of Elon and Doge invading our Social Security files.
Elon Musk and Doge have been authorized by the President of the United States. Hold on. Don't move. Are you ready?
Don't boo. I know you didn't bring up Doge to say don't boo. They've been booing Doge all over the country. You wouldn't know that if you wasn't watching the news. So if you ain't been watching the news, you ain't been reading books, where you been? You've been hanging out at them dance halls again, ain't you? Sneaking out late at night just to pretend you Jamaican.
Because I don't want you to yell and not hear the full story. Because you're not listening. You're yelling. Here we go. I'm going to tell you the full story. Here's the full story. The previous administration, Joe Biden, he authorized 53 students to have access to the same database during his administration. 53. He authorized 53 students to have access to the Social Security database. And I didn't hear anybody being upset when Joe Biden authorized them. So how can you be upset when it's that versus Elon Musk? That is not true. Again, if you're going to have a conversation about policy, then answer the question. Chanting is not going to be the easy question. Donald Trump authorized Elon Musk to have access. I agree with that.
And by the way, I only played that clip because it's from the DeSantis Appreciation Society. Just trying to up them in the algorithm. Oh yeah, we played a long game over here. And by the way, that is Elon Musk's platform that's hitting you with community notes while you standing on stage defending Doge. Ooh, that got hurt.
What the Doge is doing is they're examining the records. They're providing their findings. Congress has to weigh in on those.
They're firing people.
This works. If you're just upset because Donald Trump has Elon Musk doing it, then that doesn't make any sense. We have to make sense. We have to agree on certain things.
Hey, Byron, you losing them. You losing them, Byron. Fight back, Byron. Fight back.
You are being rude and disrespectful. Ma'am, you are being disrespectful. And I will respect you the next time you be removed.
Well, look on the bright side, Byron. You could have got hit with a butch body bigot on the way out.
You butch body bigot! You butch body bigot!
I just saw it this week. To be honest, I'm surprised you didn't.
Like I said, if you want to have a disagreement, let's have a disagreement. But when you're going to stand and yell and disrespect everybody in this room because you think you're being heard, and let's be clear, you're not. Let's be very clear, you're not. What you're doing is better now, and you're being disrespectful. You, ma'am, you are being disrespectful. And I will respect you, and I will honor the fact that you are here trying to get answers. But if you're going to hold this thing up and be disrespectful, then next time for you to be removed.
I'm sorry, Byron. Did you just say you could leave because you're disrespecting everybody in this room? So if people in the room feel like you're disrespecting everybody in the room, then what should they do?
If you do not believe that it is okay, if you think it is fine for people to defraud Social Security, you and I don't agree. What the DOJ is doing is they are examining the records. They are providing their findings. Congress has to weigh in on those findings. That's the way the process works. If you're just upset because Donald Trump has Elon Musk doing it, that doesn't make any sense. We have to make sense. We have to agree on certain things.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Byron. They finna drag you. Yeah, they finna drag you. Yeah, this gonna be ugly. And I can't even wait till DeSantis get his hands on this. Fellow Floridians, I asked this question. If Byron Donalds is cracking at a town hall of 50 people, how is he expected to perform during hurricane season when 20 million residents are looking to him as governor? And then there's this one. Overall takeaways from Byron Donalds' town hall. Started late, only half full. Donald stayed on his talking points. Crowd was overwhelmingly not buying it. Boos, shouting on every question. Donald's push authoritarian narrative of republic, unitary executive. Now, first of all, Byron, you started late. Really? You gonna stop? No, because you can't sit up there. Oh, everybody yelling at me, a black guy, when you started late. You know what I mean? You did that. Donald stayed on his talking points. Ain't you the one who just told me nobody tells me what to say? Huh? That was your defense to Jasmine Crockett, was it not? Oh, nobody tells me what is. That was the whole defense. Well, that and the whole nonsense about how they didn't have a problem with Kamala Harris, which, of course, proves the point. You know, honestly, Byron, you are like the Cartier family of politics. You miss the point to such a degree that you prove the point. You are actually quite valuable, now that I think about it. Crowd was overwhelmingly not buying it. Boos, shouting on every question. Now let me guess. Those were bots. Those were bots. Well, look, either those were real people or you're going to have to stop getting up here and defending Doge. Because apparently they have the technology and the AI that Elon Musk is using his money to turn these bots into something that looks like real people. Booing you, shouting out, asking, have you read books, and then walking out. And here's the thing, Byron. It got so bad for you at the town hall that even right-wing media was catching strays. This is Byron Donalds at a town hall. Watch this video, then read this. Oh, let me check this out. Representative Byron Donalds stays calm at contentious town hall. And tell me Newsmax isn't 100% all in for Donalds. Also notice they don't show the video or even mention it. Well, I got the video. Does this look calm to you?
Don't educate me about my life, sir. Don't do that. Don't, sir. Look.
Byron, you just thought people was gonna forget that you was black? Like you really thought that whitewash job had worked, didn't you? I don't see why you was mad at Jasmine Crockett. If anything, you need to go and get your money back. You thought they wasn't gonna notice that you was black? That's as obvious as Shaq greeting Trump at the UFC card. Everybody gonna see that. Lots of people walked out. Lots of people escorted out for shouting at Donalds. So if it started half full, and then people walked out, and then people were escorting out, were you trying to be like a sea captain? Like I'm going down with the ship? Like, I'm gonna be the last person in this room. I don't care what happens. Republican electeds dutifully clapped, were noticeably worried about the hostile crowd. Nothing said it's going great like making people worried at how hostile people became at your responses. And by the way, Byron, this actually might be healthy for you because this is the response that most people have when they watch your news hits. Yeah, they just don't have the ability to respond in person. Now you know. Several questions on Social Security were not really answered. We saw those. That was quite a dance right there, Byron. If I wouldn't know better, I would think you was daggering. There is no way this was good for him. I disagree. It could be good for him if he lands the plane on why he got so defensive at everybody yelling at him about not reading books. Yeah, it would take quite a bit of soul searching for him to truly answer why he got so defensive in that moment and use that to inform his worldview moving forward. We know it won't happen, but there is a chance. Donalds asserted again that only Americans deserve due process. Do they? Do they deserve due process? Because I'm old enough to remember even Americans not getting due process. Is that what you want to do? Have you asked your daddy if that's okay for you to say? Donalds was all over the place with the Constitution and his oversight role. No oversight on Doge. CFB is unconstitutional, but unitary executive is okay. Donalds had a meltdown and the public feed was cut. Now, that's pretty bad, Byron. I'll be honest. That's pretty bad. And quite frankly, I think that only your daddy could possibly save you and pull you out of this mess you're in Florida. I'm not saying even that would work, though, because the landscape is looking quite treacherous these days for black Republicans.
Y'all seen this? It's got to be tough to be a black Republican right now. First, Trump, when he gets elected, he overlooks all of y'all that was out there on the campaign trail stumping him, telling us to vote for him. Byron Donalds even told us
During Jim Crow, the black family was together.
Yeah, that's right.
while he was out there smoking cigars and telling us to vote for Trump. Tim Scott was on every TV show that you could think of or that would let him on, telling us to vote for Trump. Trump overlooked them, and the only person he put on his calendar that was a black man is Scott Turner. He was a no-name Republican that could not get elected in California, moved to Texas, was installed in Texas, and then Trump elevated him to HUD secretary. That man has a purpose of his own. He's not like Byron Donalds and Tim Scott. Byron Donalds and Tim Scott are old-blood Republicans. Scott Turner is one of those MAGA Republicans that's going to allow himself to be used for any which way that Donald Trump says. And that itself is why a lot of the established black Republicans may be having a hard time feeling slightly froze out of the process. We've even seen Byron Donalds recently shy away from, his proclamation that he wants to run for governor in the state of Florida. Why is that? I don't know. You see Tim Scott, whose small business program empire legacy be dismantled by Trump, he says nothing. Not only do we see established black Republicans being overlooked, we're also seeing that their legacy of legislation is being negatively impacted, and they're saying nothing about it. Tim Scott, you gotta be ashamed of yourself. He spent years championing small business programs in South Carolina, only for the Trump administration to come in and dismantle it in less than 100 days. And you're silent. But he's not the only one. Byron Daniels went into a town hall meeting recently, last night, and tried to push more of the Trump rhetoric. And this is what he got.
Are you ready? You ready for the answer? The previous president Biden. So you don't want to hear the full story. You don't want to hear the full story. Allow me to explain the full story. When you're ready, I don't want you to yell and not hear the full story because you're not listening.
Can't help but notice that black Republicans almost overwhelmingly are elected in areas that are reflective of white populations.
Oh, we noticed. Because we saw what happened when he went down to Atlanta.
Wesley Hunt, for a year, spent a year living in Robert E. Lee Barracks. Every single day that I walked beneath that threshold, I looked up and saw that name and thought to myself, damn, this is a great country.
You don't forget about where you're from. Don't
never-
paint the picture. Don't tell us that we can't educate our kids on the opportunity. We're talking about vouchers. You're talking about things that's still going to cost more money.
In fact, wasn't he down there with Wesley Hunt? Yeah, and Wesley Hunt actually sees it as a point of pride that he was elected by white people. He thinks that's a flex.
In the end, she was qualified for that job. What do you think of that story and the way she recalls it?
Well, you can't have it both ways, and Jasmine and I just don't see the world the same way. I don't want to walk in a room and get a job because I'm black. I want to walk in a room and get a job because I'm qualified, because I am educated, because I have hard work, grit, determination, because I believe in this country. That's why I am a United States congressman in a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 20 points, and I just won by 27 points.
When you see these town hall meetings and these black men are up in front of white people, and these white people are shouting and yelling at them, what does that remind you of? Now, I'm not saying that all black Republicans are trash, but I can't help but notice the silence and the just complacency that is coming from them as we're seeing all of this go on. Don't forget that these were the individuals that, before the election, told us that a Trump victory is going to bring great things to the black community. Never forget, Byron Donalds told us that black America was better under Jim Crow. As a grandson of individuals that lived in the Jim Crow South and the stories that I was told growing up, Byron.
Listen to what that man said. Before he said F you, Byron, the next to last thing that he said, the silence and complacency you are hearing from the same black Republicans that were out here advocating for Trump and talking about how good it was going to be for black people. Yes, feet need to be held to the fire. I've said the exact same thing when it came to the women that tried to put lipstick on this sexist pig of a campaign. Now, when we see what has transpired when he's been in office, and by the way, I'm not done on that. I'm circling the block on you, Megyn Kelly. Just stay tuned. These were the people that were standing here telling us how good he was going to be for black people. And what have you heard from them since? Byron Donalds knows exactly what it is, and that's why he reacted that way on stage when they're yelling at a black man, have you read these books? I'm still waiting for a response. I don't know if he's read any books. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, and I want to thank you for all your incredible suggestions for guests.
Bruh, man, can I get my seat, man?
Don't tell. I shouldn't have said here, right?
That could join me on my weekly 8 p.m. live. Now you'll see some of your favorite creators, not only on this platform, but other social media platforms, joining me every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. Now, a lot of you guys have already signed up for my newsletter, but we're going to create a written version of the Reese Waters channel and put our stamp on it and allow us to cover some topics we can't always cover in the videos, or maybe some odds and ends that we couldn't get into the videos. It's almost like when you're in the shower and you remember that perfect line that really would have set that argument off. You know, what you really wanted to say to that ex or coworker.
I don't want to bore you any. You know I love you, I love you, I love you.
No, for real. You can sing with me without touching.
Come on.
You wasting your time by singing to me because I'm not listening.
All the stuff that I forgot and just missed that didn't necessarily make the videos, you can find that in the newsletter. You can sign up for that at reesewaters.com. There, you might also see a bunch of new merch. That's right, I teased it. It is finally here. We have new merch on the website, and we'll be continuing to drop new merch, so make sure you check that out at the website. And speaking of merch, I first want to give a shout out to all the fantastic mods, the mod squad here on the channel that does a fantastic job every single day. But one of our originals, my man Dank, sent me this pic with his I'm Troubled t-shirt, and he looks so good in it. I almost went and ordered another one for myself, but then I realized that, you know, I need to get my front porch fixed. Yeah, it's not gonna look that way on me. No, just the O and the B just be it just bow. It look like it's a bow shirt. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for being such an incredible community, and one that gives me so much hope when I wake up every single day.